Hi, welcome back to our cooking audio tips, and this is Geeta from Nosh Detox, and I'm here with Tatu, our Nosh chef nutritionist. Hi Tatu.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good, and today we're here to talk about protein. Now, one of the reasons that I wanted to bring this up is that every time I go near a nutritionist, and I do regularly, she always says, get more protein, get more protein. Now, I'm vegan. I don't eat meat, I don't eat fish, and I'm like, get more protein. What do you mean, get more protein? I can't eat loads of nuts, I can't eat loads of seeds, I can eat a certain amount, but after a while, I get fat or I get sick of them. So, I wanted to bring my problem here because I think many of us have this as an issue. And we have several issues around this. One, we're meant to eat more protein. Where do we get it from? Two, if protein's so great for you, why is the Dukan diet not good for you since it's all about protein? And three, how much protein should we really have? So I'm going to open this up to Tatu here. Okay, Tatu, so protein. If you look at cooking, let's just take those questions upside down. What are the really good sources of protein if you're cooking other than your standard meat and fish?
Just a quick one. Venison has the highest protein content of all the meats, followed swiftly by turkey and chicken. So beefsteak is right at the bottom. But if you are looking at more vegan sources, a great way to do it is food combining. So there are amino acids that are found in certain fruits and vegetables and grains, etc., etc. And in order to obtain all the correct amino acids to create a complete protein, which
the right chain.
You've got to combine them in the right way. One of the ways to do it, and it's something that you find in all cultures all over the world, is brown rice with various sorts of pulses. So be it lentils or, aduki beans or red kidney beans are fantastic.
Yeah. I was trying to get my kids to eat them, so I lied. I said it was red chicken. How did
that go?
They were young enough not to know better. They've kind of worked it out by now.
It's a shame it didn't go forward.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I was always taught that you did grains, like rice, for example, and then you did legumes or lentils or beans, and then you also had green leaves.
Green leaves, I think we've mentioned it.
In our first one, yeah.
Yeah, it's about the fibre and flushing out whatever's stuck behind. And in the case of protein, it takes a lot longer to digest. I'm sure lots of people have heard that. Which creates a feeling of satiety. But if you've eaten like a great big piece of steak, for instance, then, you do need a bit more fibre to flush it through. But also the greens are about the minerals. It's so important to get enough minerals. And we're going to discuss that later on in one of our chats.
But here now, so you're saying that if we put that in with the protein and the beans or whatever we use plus the brown rice, then that's just actually a really good meal all round, basically.
Yeah, it's definitely a winner.
So then if protein, why do we need so much protein?
Well, if you think about your whole immune system is built on protein. Protein is our building block. So your immune system, pretty much everything in it is protein, which is rather important for our general survival. Enzymes for breaking down, for any kind of metabolism in the body. And I'm not talking about like running, jumping, climbing trees metabolism. I'm talking about breaking down each chemical
digestive
compound.
Metabolism.
Yeah, and you've even got metabolism going on in your brain, so it's breaking down of every single molecule. So proteins are essential for that kind of thing. Proteins also carry things around. So hemoglobin is a protein that carries oxygen and nutrients around the body. So you can see how important protein is.
So it's a building block. Now, okay, if protein is so important, why don't we all just go and live on the Dukan diet? Because I have seen the effects of the Dukan diet on people that I know. And it's really appalling. I mean, they have people with too much estrogen in their systems, people whose livers are packing up. I mean, really dire things happen to people that go on things like high protein diets. Why shouldn't we all go on one of those then? Why would it be bad for you?
The way the body works is, for instance, the brain functions on pretty much glucose alone. There are a couple of other things, and another one is ketones, which can be made from proteins and fats. But in order for it to be made, it's quite a complicated process that involves lots of chemicals, and it releases lots of byproducts that can be very damaging to the body. And this is what you find in very high protein diets, because they tend to focus very much on the proteins and not at all on any vegetables, which are where all our minerals and antioxidants and vitamins come from. Also, what you were talking about with the estrogen problems, things like chicken and beef, pretty much every meat on the market has been altered slightly or, persuaded to have more estrogen in it.
So they've had hormones put into them, basically.
Yeah, especially with the non-organic meats, which means that those estrogens are going into our bodies.
Into your body, and they're going to stay.
Yeah, and you create an imbalance. And also, because protein's really hard to digest, it creates abrasions and damage to the intestine. So you can get things like leaky gut, you can get bowel cancer, which has been very linked to red meat.
So what we're saying is that, yes, you should eat protein. What you just need, though, is to be aware that protein on its own as a source from meat, for example, is really not an answer. It's part of a regular meal. So if you're looking at a plate, so here we are, for a meat eater, we're looking at a plate. We've got venison in front of us because it's a high source of protein. What else is on that plate?
You want to look at your plate and you want to see 20 to 30% of it is protein, 20 to 30% of it is a really good whole grain. You know, things like quinoa, brown rice is really amazing. It's a real superfood out there. And the other half of the plate should be vegetables and, you know, a few fruit. And potatoes don't count. And you can't just have a half a plate of carrots. So actually, green leaves is what we're talking about. Lots and lots of different stuff going on.
And different colours of vegetables, I personally don't approve of having fruit on the same plate as food. I've always thought that fruit should be kept completely separate. But, you know, that's why I employ all these intelligent people, so they can have their own opinion. So Tatu does put fruit in her food and her cooking, and I don't. And you really should choose what works best for your system. So you've got that. Now, say you're not a meat eater, you're a fish eater. As a pescatarian, what would you look at on a plate and you had fish that would be giving you a healthy yet protein meal?
There's a fantastic thing I learnt recently called smash. When you're thinking of fish, think smash. It's salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines and herrings. Those are the ones you want to go for. They will make you a better person in life.
Salmon, mackerels, anchovies, sardines and
herring.
Aren't you proud of me? I got that so fast. So those are the ones that you should be having. They're now on your plate. What else is on that plate?
Again, you want to have those really good grains, and again, you want to have loads and loads of really lovely vegetables, preferably some green stuff going on.
And preferably quite a bit uncooked.
Oh, yeah. Definitely go for the raw stuff because you're going to maintain mineral and vitamin quantities and lots of fibre as well.
Okay, cool. So now when you're actually looking at this plate and you're vegetarian, you will have on that plate, I know we did this at the beginning, but just to recap.
Well, hopefully you're going to have some soya, maybe a soy product like tempeh or tofu is a really good idea. Also, you know, many of their legumes, beans, pulses, lentils, and there are a number of vegetables. I mean, you have to go and faff around on the internet and look at the protein content of things.
Well, peas have really high protein content, which is really weird.
When I found this out, I was over the moon because I love garden peas and now I have an excuse to eat even more of them.
Exactly. I hope that was helpful. Really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you, Tatu.
Not at all.
And goodbye from Tatu and me, Geeta, and we'll speak to you soon.